ITN.
Now today's sports news, and with the details, here's Phil Mepham.
20 minutes of French flair was enough to destroy England's hopes of a Grand Slam and set the French up as favourites for the Five Nations title. England 20, France 23, it finished. Paul Royal reports.
Crunch time at Twickenham for an England side chasing a third successive championship. Penalties produced the first points, Paul Grayson kicking free to set up an early lead. Coach Jack Rowell says he may have to turn his back on England, but his players were offering ample evidence why he should stay. Lawrence Dallaglio producing a brilliant try. After the break, two more penalties increased England's lead before the French finally broke through the home side's determined defending. Lamont scoring. And with 10 minutes left, the game was back on a knife edge. La Maison scoring and converting the try to level the match. Next, the French hero secured a dramatic comeback with this penalty. It meant there was no fairy tale last match at Twickenham for Will Carling. The championship now looks likely to cross the channel. Paul Royal, ITN Sport.
By way of contrast, they were calling Scotland's game with Ireland at Murrayfield the battle to avoid the wooden spoon. Ireland took the lead after 22 minutes when Dennis Hickey scored his second try of the tournament so far. But Scotland soon replied with a try from former Rugby League international Alan Tate. It's his first game for Scotland in 9 years. Scotland went into the lead with a penalty and then extended it with a try from Peter Walton. It finished Scotland 38, Ireland 10. So confirmation of the Five Nations title, a table with one round of matches to go. France top then, heirs apparent to the title, 2 points clear of England, and Scotland with that win today off the bottom over Ireland. In football, Manchester United stretched their lead at the top of the English Premiership to 4 points with a comfortable 3-1 win over Coventry at Old Trafford. Two quick goals set them on their way, the second from Andy Cole, who's right back in form ahead of their European Cup game against Porto on Wednesday. So too is Karol Poborski. He added a third in the second half. Ian Wright put his recent troubles behind him with a goal for Arsenal against Everton at Goodison Park. Dennis Bergkamp was also on target as Arsenal keep the top two in sight with a 2-0 win. And Matthew Le Tissier gave Southampton a 1-0 win at Newcastle. And there was more bad news for Newcastle fans from Kevin Keegan, their manager for 5 years. In an interview with ITV Sport today, he ruled himself out of a return to football and gave his clearest indication yet that he won't be back at St James's.
I'm really enjoying not having to wake up every morning going to a football club, just as much as I enjoyed doing it in the early years when I was at Newcastle. So I won't go back to St James's. The only time I would think of going back is for Peter Beardsley's testimonial.
In Division 1 of the Football League, Barnsley were one club trying to make ground on leaders Bolton, who play tomorrow. Neil Redfern scored twice for them at Southend. In Scotland, Brian Laudrup was on target for Rangers at Pittodrie, but an own goal by Rangers keeper Andy Goran helped Aberdeen back into the game. It finished 2-2. 2-2 was the final score. Celtic, they lead Hearts 2-0, so they did in fact make ground up on the leaders. Time now then for a full classified roundup of today's football results with Bob Costa.
Beginning with the FA Carling Premiership. Blackburn 1, Sunderland 0. Derby 3, Chelsea 2. Everton 0, Arsenal 2. Leeds 1, West Ham 0. Manchester United 3, Coventry 1. Newcastle 0, Southampton 1. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Middlesbrough 1. Tottenham 0, Nottingham Forest 1. And Wimbledon 1, Leicester 3. Nationwide League Division 1, Bradford 1, Manchester City 3. Grimsby 1, Birmingham 2. Norwich 2, Huddersfield 0. Oxford United 1, Crystal Palace 4. Port Vale 1, Reading 0. Portsmouth 1, Sheffield United 1. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Oldham 1. Southend 1, Barnsley 2. Swindon 1, Charlton 0. And Wolves 0, Ipswich 0. Division 2, Bournemouth 0, Shrewsbury 0. Bristol Rovers 0, Walsall 1. Crewe 3, Gillingham 2. Millwall 2, Wycombe 1. Notts County 1, Brentford 1. Peterborough 1, Chesterfield 1. Plymouth 0, Blackpool 1. Preston 3, Bury 1. Stockport 0, Rotherham 0. Watford 3, Bristol City 0. Wrexham 0, Burnley 0. And York 1, Luton 1. Division 3, Carlisle 1, Lincoln 0. Darlington 2, Brighton 0. Fulham 1, Chester 1. Hartlepool 0, Scunthorpe 1. Hereford 1, Exeter 2. Hull 1, Northampton 1. Leyton Orient 0, Barnet 1. Mansfield 1, Cambridge United 0. And not on the pools, Rochdale 2, Torquay 1. Bell Scottish League, Premier Division. Aberdeen 2, Rangers 2. Celtic 2, Hearts 0. Dundee United 2, Dunfermline 1. Hibernian 1, Motherwell 1. Wraith against Kilmarnock as a pools panel result assessed as a home win. Scottish Division 1, East Fife 1, Dundee 1. Falkirk St Mirren panel result, away win. Greenock Morton 1, Stirling 1. Partick Thistle against Airdrie, panel result, home win. And St Johnstone 1, Clydebank 0. Scottish Division 2, these matches not on the pools. Ayr 2, Berwick 0. Clyde against Queen of the South, match postponed. Dumbarton 1, Brechin 2. And the matches Livingston against Hamilton and Stenhousemuir against Stranraer were both postponed. Scottish Division 3, Arbroath, East Stirling, match postponed. Inverness Caledonian Thistle 3, Alloa 1. Montrose against Ross County, match postponed. And finally, Queen's Park 4, Forfar 0.
Thanks, Bob. Well, let's go on to the tables, beginning with the top of the Premiership this evening. And there are Manchester United 4 points clear. Liverpool, of course, play at Aston Villa tomorrow. Arsenal, they beat Everton to make up some ground, but Newcastle, they missed the chance because of that surprising 1-0 home defeat by Southampton at St James's Park. Matthew Le Tissier, the scorer. At the bottom, well, Middlesbrough are still on the bottom after losing 3-1 at Sheffield Wednesday. Southampton still in the relegation zone despite that win. West Ham drop into the bottom three, with Nottingham Forest having won today at Tottenham Hotspur. Dean Saunders was the scorer, and Coventry back down there after that 3-1 defeat at Manchester United. In Division 1, there are Bolton still on the top. They play against West Bromwich Albion tomorrow. Wolves, they drew 0-0 with Ipswich today, so they missed out on a chance to go a little closer. As for Barnsley, well, they won today away at Southend, so they make up ground. Sheffield United are 4th, and Norwich are now 5th. And in Scotland, Rangers with that 2-2 draw against Aberdeen are still top, but Celtic have closed up the ground. They won today at home to Hearts, and so the gap is now down to 5 points. Kilmarnock and Wraith at the bottom. They were due to play each other today, but the match was postponed because of high winds. And finally the pools, beginning with the half-time score draws. 4 score draws at half-time, numbers 17, 23, 40 and 44, and 15 no-score draws, numbers 1, 4, 6, 10, 18, 19, 20, 21, 28, 30, 32, 43, 45, 46 and 49. And the full times, there are 10 score draws, numbers 15, 24, 25, 31, 34, 37, 40, 43, 45 and 47, and 4 no-score draws, numbers 19, 20, 28 and 30. As you can see, all the results are in. The forecast is moderate. Phone claims, please, they say, for 24 points. That's it. Carol will be back with the lottery numbers just after 8.
And we'll both be back with our main news at 5 to 11. Bye for now.
Bye.